Hello, everybody. Welcome to another dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon for extra support. Any kind of news and updates I will go about on Twitter X. And later on, we'll have a Midnight Suns episode. And just a quick reminder that I have already some completed gameplay series there. Yeah, basically that's it. Let's go directly to the news. So, supposedly, continuing with NVIDIA theme here, and their basically overall strategy to a certain sense, they say they are expanding ROCm to Radeon GPUs and APUs, okay, and open design centers, in this case in Serbia, that will also work on the next gen UDNA architecture. This basically comes from their own senior vice president, chief software officer, Andreev. I'm not trying to pronounce this name. Again, in another interview, and they have a team working on AI technology for data centers, developing our ROCm subsystem for data centers. So basically, it's a completely new team. They have just established that is working basically on just ROCm stuff there. Again, I think this comes with the statements of Czech Huin regarding bringing developers on to develop for their hardware and software. I think this comes again. It's basically their strategy, bringing more developers to develop for AMD, basically. And basically, he continues saying this is going to be a full-fledged design center. We are going to have RTL design. I don't know what this is. Hardware verification, many other hardware and software technologies as an option. Um, Also, regarding GPU stuff and the such, from content protection security, AMD is planning to expand its operations further into more security aspects, which is interesting. And one of the key details prevailed in the interview is AMD plans to expand ROCm support for Radeon products, uh, which is a big deal since given that ROCm it's gives you a lot of AI kind of software solutions from how they call it, large language models and the such, and basically is a competitor to CUDA. CUDA, how CUDA works with NVIDIA, and how they usually leverage everything from NVIDIA part. I think basically AMD is going for also try to compete in that field, which is interesting. And again, ROCm, open source platform that will allow developers to write software for AI machine learning on AMD hardware, which will now be accessible to all mainstream APUs and Radeon GPUs. This is already kind of supported. They've been updating ROCm to manage to use the normal RDNA GPU, so you don't need the Pro thing there. Even though again, the Pro versions of their own GPU stuff is more designed to be more specifically for this kind of workloads on the AI and machine learning, because usually they have more VRAM and the such, which usually can leverage better this kind of software. But yeah, it's going to be compatible with RDNA, so you don't need to buy the more expensive versions of their own GPUs. The same thing that NVIDIA does, basically. It's basically mirroring in the strategy of achieving more, I don't know, market share, or at least um, a mind share in what the ROCm will do against CUDA, which is good because even ROCm is something that CUDA is not, which is open platform, which is going to be interesting to see how it progresses and the overall strategy of AMD merging these two architectures, so the RDNA and CDNA, and unifying everything on the same banner, let's say, and leveraging the software with the hardware there. Again, this is going to be kind of a long plan thing here, so don't expect by the end of the year everything is set up. I think it's until everything is fine tuned. Again, I said this previously. Usually, I think it's a 5-year plan, let's say, when but we will start to seeing some inklings of this. I think it's going to be through phases, and I think the last phase of at least unifying all the both architectures, start leveraging this UDNA with the ROCm stuff there. It will take around, I don't know, 5 years, because the phasing of unifying the architecture by itself, I think, will start to happen more RDNA 6 maybe. This is not going to happen on RDNA 4 because it's still RDNA architecture, and I think we're still going to have RDNA 5 before we start seeing a merging on the architectures, like finalized, starting to see like a unified product there stack. But I think even then we will start to see more the gamer product, let's say, and the professional product. I think they will maintain this because it makes sense, because they can leverage this software to take a little bit more extra income and more profits out of this these professional GPUs, because usually, again, like check you in, I think it's how it's called. Again, they can justify doing specific hardware for for companies, because they always have kind of a return on investment regarding hardware. While again, in the DIY market, like gamers, they can have this extra stuff to justify the purchase of AMD GPUs. Uh, they can play and work with those own GPUs, but they always have an option if they want to go the extra mile to buy these professional GPUs to use with ROCm, which basically is going to be the competition with CUDA Core software there, and the all the environment, the ecosystem that they have there. Again, basically, ROCm will be a competition with that one, and I think it's something that they should have done a little bit earlier. But again, seems that AMD is always a little bit on the catch up with NVIDIA regarding this kind of big things here. But hopefully, maximum 5 years, I think we will have a more competitive product overall between AMD and NVIDIA. Hopefully so, because AMD has the leverage of at least having a dedicated CPU manufacturing system, or ecosystem, let's say, where they can also leverage with their own GPU stuff there, while NVIDIA is still very dependent on ARM technology. Let's see also how they leverage. I see some articles in there that probably the x86 architecture, in terms of how CPUs work, will be eventually phased out. I don't know, 15 years from now. I don't think. I think we are reaching, in kind of, to a certain degree, um, the last stretch of this kind of architecture. Supposedly, a lot of people are aiming that ARM architecture can be leveraged in better ways than x86, which is how basically all CPUs at this moment, at least from Intel and AMD, are. I think even AMD is starting their own development in terms of ARM architecture. We'll have to wait and see. I think it's more thing for a more distant future than like the next thing that I want to introduce. But I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, basically this is what I got from AMD. Got from Nvidia. Supposedly there are some rumblings that they will eventually, by the end of next month, they will discontinue the production of the 4090 and 4090D to start in preparations for the 5090 and 5090D GPU stuff there. Again, makes kind of a sense, given all the leaks and rumors that we've been hearing, that beginning next year we will start to see the launch of the 5000 series. Again, if they go at least how they did with the 4000, we'll have the 5090 and probably the 5080 GPU launches back to back, I will say. And this, the fact that they, I think this serves two purposes. The fact that they are basically not letting leaking out. Again, this is kind of speculation of how the industry works. The fact that they are stopping the production of this supposedly by the end of next month is it, to a certain degree, will start, the stocks will start to decrease, because if sales continues, it will manage to inflate a little bit more the prices, because there is less stock. If the demand maintains the same, again, the prices will ramp up. That's the normal stuff. with the market, and at least have also some leeway for the AIB start also working for the in their own GPU board stuff there with NVIDIA. But yeah, even though again it's reference here that there is no public information about the discontinuation plan of the RTX 4090 and 4090D, but again it is expected that this will around by the end of next month they will discontinue the production of these GPUs here. But yeah, so again, this not any kind of advice. If you want to buy a 49, just buy now. Again, if you are satisfied with your own GPU at some moment in time, and if you're aiming for the top end, um, just hold on for the moment. I think you can wait 4 months or so until we have a better information and a better sense of what the 5090s and the 5080s will bring. Again, the rumors that we've been having is supposedly the 5080 will bring an uplift in performance of around 10% up from the 4090. We'll have to wait and see. But then again, don't trust all the first party information. Again, they tend to flourish too much their own uplifts in terms of performance, but at least we might get an idea what they're trying to aim for, specifically more on, for example, the 5080 might be the best value on the high end. We'll have to wait and see. Again, the expectations is maybe the 5080, if it is performs 10% more than the 4090, we will get an increase in prices. The 4080 launched at $1,200, and the 4090, sorry, launched at $1,500. Again, very high prices. Again, people are speculating like $2,000 5090s and probably 1,500 4080s. Again, I'm not sure because they will not have competition in this next generation for the high end segment. Given that supposedly RDNA 4 again is going to be the maximum for the 8800 XT. I think they're trying to aim for the mass market, so we are expecting in the roundabouts on a 3080 performance kind of restoration and probably a 4070 Ti-ish in terms of ray tracing performance. For a roundabout, I think that they want to hit the maximum ceiling of around $600. I think if the AMD can manage the $600 price point with that kind of performance, I think it's going to run out of stock very fast. Because it's a huge value, basically brings that kind of performance to $400 less. If it's trying to compete with the 4080, which is around $1,000, if they can bring back that to around $600 in terms of performance, price to performance there, I think only people that really want to, I know, go for the high-end product might dish out $1,500 or more for those GPUs on the NVIDIA part there. But yeah, it's a little bit still speculation, rumblings, expectations according to market trends, especially on the production side of things. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things will unfold throughout the rest of the year. In terms of gaming, similarly, Star Wars Jedi series will get its final chapter of the supposed trilogy. The Star Wars Jedi series, which had Fallen Order, then Survivor, and then we don't know which is called the third one. Again, this comes after EA's Investor Relations Day. They said we delivered some of the highest quality and best-selling Star Wars games of all time with over 5 billion in net bookings. Again, net bookings, I don't know which particular term this, I will assume revenue. Then you have to take the cut of the sellers and everything. Again, still 5 billions is good, is a good catch there. And they then specifically say Star Wars Jedi games, where over 40 million Star Wars fans have connected with Casters and these are to becoming a powerful Jedi. Again, I suppose they trying to insinuate they sold 40 million copies between these two games, which is it's pretty good. it's really good sales. Again, the games are quite decent. I played both of them. I made gaming series out of them. Star Wars Fallen Order was kind of an entry point. A lot of performance issues in a lot of instances. The mechanics were very basic, at least compared with Jedi Survivor. Whilst Jedi Survivor, in the overall scheme of things, was an upgrade in terms of gameplay mechanics, the size of the maps, the way you can go about it, more collectibles, more side activities, let's say. It feels a little bit more complete in that sense, but they still have we still have a lot of issues in terms of performance in that game. And even with the last update that I covered yesterday, it basically um, improved in overall, but there are still some lingering issues there, especially on the stuttering side of things, and especially on the main hub of Kobo. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Again, the fact that they are announcing here that they say that he's working hard to bring the final chapter of his thrilling story to players. This is good. Seems that they are working on it. Will be a respawn, but the next installment will not be spearheaded by Stig Asmussen, which was the creative director on the first two games, from what I understand. He left Respawn a year ago, so basically a little bit before the launch of Jedi Survivor, if not mistaken. And he founded Giant Skull, a new AAA studio working on an action adventure powered by Unreal Engine 5. But yeah, um, at the time that they give 8.3 out of 10, I think this score still maintains itself pretty on par with my experience. It's around about, it's a pretty good game. It has some issues, but again, it advances a little bit more the story from the first game. We've got some twists here and there. Kind of the bigger one to a certain extent. I kind of predicted because it kind of telegraphed in a certain way. I think I commented that while I was playing the game there. But yeah, if you find these games on the deal, they are good deals there. If you find both of these games on a good deal. And speaking about Stig Asmussen, I missed completely this one. The fact that and this was the news though, of two studios opening up. AAA gaming veterans found two new studios. One of them, Giant Skull, with again Stig Asmussen, and Empty Vessel. Again, from Stig Asmussen, the Giant Skull studio. Again, they are working on AAA single-player action adventure game with Unreal Engine 5. Supposedly, they are going for immersive storytelling, heroic combat, and exhilarating transversal. We'll have to wait and see the still information that we have, even though they have some interesting characters or persons that he brought to the studio. John Carr, technical director, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Patrick Murphy from Fortnite, Valorant, League of Legends, God of War. Lauren Lemore from Fortnite, Jeff Magers, both Star Wars Jedi games, and Brian Campbell from Fortnite team. And then on the other side, we got Empty Vessel Studio that was opened by CEO and game director Emel Palalik, and then also as general manager and COO Garrett Young, both of whom work at ID Software on Doom, which is pretty good games, at least the soft reboot games. Then we got also in the team Alex Palma, another Doom veteran, and they are aiming for an immersive shooter powered by Unreal Engine 5 also, and inspired by dystopian sci-fi worlds. Again, do you already have like a teaser trailer for the Empty Vessel studio? But I think it's more kind of what they're trying to achieve in terms of tone uh, with the game there is upcoming from them. While from a Giant Skull we don't have nothing. If you go to Giant Skull, you have like on the site there it's a little bit all over the place. I think they're at this moment in time only for trying to tease people what they're trying to achieve in terms of tone. But yeah, I will think it will take at least probably 2 years at least to have more specific information regarding what they are working on. But it's at least good to see that at least we still have space for some of these people to find and found new studios to work on more focused projects of what they really want to do, instead of being dependent on the corporate structure where they have IPs that they might like to work in, but that they always have to work with already something that is already established, and then try to introduce a little twist here and there of their own point of views. Um, if you give a little bit more freedom, in this case of these two studios, we'll be seeing a rise up of a lot of these kind of studios, which is good to see. At least we might have something a little bit more unique and different, and in new IPs is always good because it refreshes ideas and everything, even though for sure we will start to see we will see some kind of inspiration in those games, but at least it's kind of new take of their own ideas and the such. I think is going to be hopefully it's going to be pretty two good games that will come out in the future. We got also Frostpunk 2 came out. We got a kind of a review here from WCC FTech. Got a 9 out of 10. Again, it seems to be in line with the first one. I never played the first one, but I kind of like the idea of this kind of dystopian kind of a thing there. It got again the pros: atmospheric visuals and audio to complement the setting, interesting political and faction system, organically grows from the original, which is good, with districts spreading from the core city, and then it has good balancing of faction resources requirements and even gameplay, building on expanding throughout, which is what we want to see on this kind of game as a city builder and management and survival thing. The only thing that they nitpick here is still quite unforgiving unless on the easiest mode. The review itself, he says he doesn't mind this, but some people might have some difficulties with the game. But yeah, 9 out of 10 from the feedback that I've been hearing here on Twitter or something like and other social medias. Seems to be very positive reception for this Frostpunk 2. Again, if it delivers, I'm pretty happy with it. Even though usually I'm not very much, it's not my thing too much. CD manager and builders and this kind of craft of survivor that much. But again, if this game is that excellent, I might want to give it a go one of these days and see how it fares, at least with me. And then lastly, we got Dogma 2. The patch introduces new performance stability improvements. Again, seems to improve a little bit here and there. It's now live, this patch. I think I already covered this one throughout this week. Again, what they're trying to aim in terms of performance is fixing the issues around CPU overload. I think it still will still have some issues. They on the patch notes on the site, they also recommend, if you're having some issues, to try to lower a little bit the graphic settings. Again, I'm not sure how that is going to affect that much the CPU, given that in terms of graphics, usually that workload belongs to the GPU, sorry, unless you are using kind of ray tracing or something like that might affect workloads on CPU. But in the overall scheme of things, usually supposedly doesn't affect that much in terms of CPU. What in this game specifically, I think what is affecting a lot the CPU stuff is the NPC routines, and the fact that there is a lot of unique NPCs with unique routines, and that overloads a little bit the CPU load. In that sense, other than that, the game seems to run pretty decent in the open world stuff. Again, they really mentioned that usually the improvement should be noticed where there is a lot of huge NPCs like the cities and the such. But yeah, let's see how that goes. And then there are some patches on the gameplay. They brought a new casual mode, which basically reduces in fees, the price of fairy stones, stamina consumption when dashing outside of battle, and supposedly pawns will recover from Dragon's Plague without triggering his most devastating effects, even when the system progresses to a terminal stage. Again, these are mechanics that I heard about. I didn't play the game, so I'm really not sure what this Dragon's Plague is, but it doesn't seem pretty good. At least for the NPCs. And then also the patch also introduced tons of vocation changes for almost vocations, with the exception of Trickster. And there are a lot of gameplay fixes, changes and fixes. I saw on the overall scheme of things there is a lot of bug fixes in certain conditions, some quest fixes also, and some visual bugs that they were persistent since the game was launched. I think a lot of them were patched out. But yeah, I think the most lingering thing is the CPU overload, and hopefully in the near future we'll have like better or more detailed information regarding the supposedly expansion that a lot of people are rumoring to say that it's something that they are working on also, like an expansion DLC kind of a thing there, because I think it's one of also the main complaints of this game seems to be the lack of enemy variety and lack of enemies to a certain extent in certain areas. Seems they say they seem pretty empty. At least that's the sense of what I got there. But again, other than that, Dogma 2 seems like to be a remastered version of the first game to a certain extent, and well, if you put that your expectations in that level, I think we will join a little bit more the game. But yeah, we'll have to see more about this game. I'm pretty. I still want to play this game in the future, but again, I have a lot of games to catch up that I missed out in this last 6 years or so. That's why I'm doing a lot of gameplay series there, trying to almost rush mode, trying to get as much games that I missed out that I wanted to play as much as I can, so I can start catching up here and there on these games that I'm very curious to try out, but I have to leave it on the back burner. Again, I don't have a lot of time, free time, but I use the free time to do this, my gaming programs, gaming news programs, and to do my gaming series there. So yeah, it will take a while, but I will eventually catch up because there are still a lot of good games that I really want to play. And talking about good games, we got some deals here. We got Bioshock the Collection. It's still on sale, 80% off on the free games on the Trilogy. It is the remastered version of the first two, plus all the DLC associated with the games there. We got also Batman Arkham Collection, Excellent Trilogy, and it also includes the Arkham Knight Season Pass. And both Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are the GOTY edition, so all the extra goodies are there also. We got Resident Evil franchise is on sale. I will leave all the Resident Evil games Steam pages there, so you can complete the missing games that you might want to buy. We got also Guardians of the Galaxy is still on sale, 80% off. Seems a pretty good game. I will eventually play this game. I managed to claim for free on Epic Game Store. We got also Near Replicant. This is the remastered version of the game there. 60% and also 60% of Near Automata. This is the GOTY edition, basically Game of the Year edition. Got also Dogma 2 is also on sale, 43% off and 38% off on the deluxe edition. Again, it's 55. Could have been. I thought that it was a little bit better, but yeah, it still has some mixed reactions here. Hopefully, with the patches and the such, it will improve a little bit more. This feedback from the players. Then we got also Pacific Drive. Again, they launched a new content, which is anomalous customization pack plus some patches here and there, some new customizations on the game itself, where you can customize basically difficulties and all that stuff. And it's the deluxe edition that is on sale, 40% off. On GOG, we got the Wolfenstein here. Wolfenstein 2 pack covers Wolfenstein Old Blood and Wolfenstein New Order. 80% off on both of them. And then we got Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. This is the digital deluxe edition, 85% off. It includes the playable DLC there. But yeah, for today, this is it, guys. I will wrap up here with a plug on my Patreon for extra support. At this moment in time, the extra support is for me to focus on bare storage solutions so I can have backups. So backups of the stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.